DataMiner Automation is really powerful. In this video, I want to explain you why that is and why you should know more about it to get the most out of your DataMiner system. Next to that, I'll take you along on DataMiner Cube to show you where you can manage and create your automation scripts. Before I show you around in the automation model in DataMiner Cube, let me first explain why automation scripts are so versatile. The first reason is that a lot of actions can be executed from a script. These actions can be simple, like setting a parameter on an element, but they can also be fully end-to-end workflows that are quite complex to otherwise do manually. Next to that, scripts can not only be executed manually, they can also be scheduled to be executed on a specific time and day, and they can also execute fully automatically based on a change in your system. For example, when an alarm occurs, a script can automatically execute a specific backup routine, and an operator doesn't need to do any manual action himself. Now, let me connect to DataMiner Cube and show you around in the automation module. You can see here I'm connected to DataMiner Cube. To access automation, I can go to the apps and select automation. In the automation module, automation scripts is selected at the top. Below that, I have a tree where all my automation scripts are logically grouped into different folders. I can easily search them here if I have a lot of them, but it's quite easy to group them together in folders and find a specific script back. If I want to create additional folders or additional scripts, I can simply right-click any folder where I want to create my script or folder into and select New Folder or Add Script. In this case, I will just create a new script in my root folder, so I right-click that one and select Add Script. You'll notice that this opens an additional window where I can actually create and configure my script. The first thing I will do is give it a unique name. In this script, I will just add one action to generate an information event, so this name is quite straightforward. Note that this name needs to be unique because this is the name that will be used whenever you want to execute this script. Now, I don't need to give it a description, but it can be useful to make it more clear what your script does. In my case, I won't add one because the name itself is already quite clear. In the general section, you also notice there are some additional details. These are actually a few configurations that we won't go deeper into today, but whenever they do make sense, we will come back to them. Then next to general, there are two different sections. A section for the input of your script, which is the dummies, parameters, and memory files, and then a section with the actions itself. Now, I won't go deeper into the input, that will be for a future video, but I do want to add one action to my script. In this case, I want to generate an information event. Now, before I can execute my script, I need to save it, of course. That can be done with the buttons at the bottom here. So I first need to save my script before I will actually be able to execute it. Now the execute button is enabled, and when I click that, an additional pop-up opens up, the name of my script and some extra options. Again, in this video I won't focus on the options, that will be for a future video, but I can now execute my script through this button. So if I now execute, you'll notice that the execution was successful, and you can see that my information event was generated. Executing your scripts from the automation module is something you typically do when you are testing and creating them. Normally, a script will be triggered from an element, from a visio, from a scheduled task, or based on a specific event. So you won't have to execute and then have another pop-up where you need to execute it, but this can be useful when you are testing your scripts. One additional feature I want to show in the automation module is that you can easily import and export your scripts. So I now created this script on my test system. If I want to use it on my production system as well, I don't need to recreate it. I can simply right-click and select Export and save it on my local file system as an XML. And then if I want to import that script, it's as simple as selecting import and selecting that script from my local file system. That's quite easy to create your scripts on your test system and then import them on your production system when they are fully tested and working. The last thing I want to show now in DataMiner Cube is the DataMiner help. The DataMiner help is accessible in the same apps list at the bottom. And if I select that, the help file will open up. Automation scripts are fully defined in the help. So if you open up the advanced DataMiner modules, you'll notice DMS automation is one of them in the list. If you select it, you can go over all different options, parameters, inputs, actions that you can use in a script. So whenever you want to use something and you're not sure how to do it, have a look in the DataMiner help, and I'm pretty sure you will find out how to do it yourself. Now you know where you can find your scripts and how to start creating and executing them. I hope you're eager to learn more about them.